Oh, I don't like that color of that light. Ugh. Did not do the right one. I don't know if anybody has joined up yet. I may not need it. Hey, everybody. Wait to see if anybody joins in. Hey, Froggy. You know what? I'm sitting there going, why does this look so weird? It's the wrong camera. My camera on my computer is messed up. Let me switch my camera. Oh, so much better. I can lower it a little bit. Oh, raise it up. There we go. How are those? Okay. That's better. I am running behind. I was working on a video and it didn't upload, so I'm frustrated. Angela, I know we had a little bit of breaking news on the other case. So I debated on holding off on this one. But it's okay. It's fine. I've got to figure out how to play that video because I made a video, but it wouldn't upload because it's too big. I didn't have time to switch it to the other MP4 player. But so, yeah, I don't get as lost on Twitter because I don't do Twitter a whole lot. I get kind of with Twitter. Get all my paperwork together because I pulled up a bunch because even though I have followed this a lot, I kind of have forgotten about it. And so anyways, thank you for joining the channel. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Give me a thumbs up if you would, please. Oh, I forgot to share this on Facebook. Hold on. Let me go share real quick. Or maybe not. Because I am scatterbrained, y'all. Today seems like a little bit of a crazy day. Well, it's just us. But that happens. Well, and everybody's over on other channels because of the laundry case. So, I'm sharing on Facebook real quick to bring some people over. Have y'all followed the Parkland shooting at all? Do you ladies know anything about it? See how much detail I need to go into. Well, I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail because I found some things out today that I had not known about this case. Okay. Hi, Carrie. Hey, multitasking works. I multitask all the time because I don't know how to do just one thing at a time. We've come into an age where school shootings are sadly common. And I hate to say that term, but that's how they are. And everybody wants to say gun control. Well, schools are supposed to be some of the safest places for gun control. And it's still happening. We have a mental health crisis in our country, not a gun crisis. Do there need to be stricter laws? I think sometimes, yes. I think in certain areas with certain things, absolutely. I don't know how this guy got this weapon. Nikolas Cruz used an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle for this shooting. And I know in Texas, you have to be 21, and he was 19, and the gun was bought legally. So I guess in Florida, maybe those numbers are different. Well, I I take that back. Let me retract on that. You have to be 21 to buy a handgun, but an AR-15 would be considered a rifle. So that in Texas, well, in gun terms, that would be a hunting type of rifle. So I guess you could be 18. So never mind. I take that back. It's 21 for a handgun. I think for these kind of weapons, I'm beginning to think that an age needs to be. There is no sense that an 18, 19-year-old child needs to have an AR-15. I know people will argue adults don't need to have AR-15s. Well, I mean, we could tit for tat on that. In the end, I think mental health needs to be reinforced. I think we need some stricter gun laws. Sadly, we can put all the laws out there that we want. Criminals don't follow them. So in the end, if they want these weapons, they're going to get them. So the only other thing we can do is be proactive. Now with the Stoneman Douglas School, they had gates, they had security systems, they had security guards, and all that failed. The gates weren't locked. The security cameras never once, they had it, but they never did anything about it. Then there was the on-site officer who has been charged. He's actually been charged with, I think it was 11 counts, paperwork, of child endangerment. So the school failed in this one. When you go back to Columbine, I don't think the school failed in that one. I mean, that was really early on, but mental health failed. And Jagger's going to join us. If anybody ever hears me do a voice clip, you usually hear him because he chirps like a bird. and now he's going to headbutt me the whole time. So, but today, Nikolas Cruz pled guilty to 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder. And so now his penalty phase goes to a jury. He was holding out because he was trying to get the death penalty taken off the table. And that has not happened. So he could still receive the death penalty. Either way, he's going to die in prison because the mandatory sentencing for this is life in prison without the possibility of parole. So he's either going to die naturally in prison or he's going to die according to Florida law for execution. You just have to wait and see what the jury does on that. And I'm going to be following that because I'm curious to see what happens. And y'all, I struggle with the death penalty. I have always been pro death penalty. Always. Until I started covering cases that were wrongful convictions with the death penalty. So then how can I support a death penalty when there are people who are put to death wrongfully? Hi, Jagger. Are you joining? Are you going to share news with me? He's a mess, guys. He's rotten. I don't know if it's picking him up with the chirps. His purr sounds like a bird. It's a high-pitched chirp. It's hilarious. He's something. Totally lost my train of thought too. Oh my God, these pop-ups won't stop. There needs to be some changes in the laws for death penalty. Thank you, Angela. I don't know where I stand on it when it comes to a single murder. Because there could be so many things factor in. But when it comes to things like serial killers, serial rapists that cross that line. Hi, Wanda. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining us. And mass shooters. I believe mass shooters deserve the death penalty. When they go into a mass shooting type of situation, they have thought it out. They have planned it. They are thinking ahead of the game to make it happen. So there's a lot of work into it to do this, to do the deed. So to me, it's it's headbutting the crap out of me. It is very serious and needs to be dealt with very seriously. So for a mass shooter, yes, I do support the death penalty. And I really struggle because there just needs to be some changes across the board with that. But with Nikolas Cruz, let me pull this up because it was an interesting piece that I had not read. I want to make sure I have it the right spot. Let's see. Now, there was a school security guard by the name of Kevin Greenleaf. He reportedly said during a sworn deposition that the school learned that Cruz had drank bleach and tried to hurt himself or something to that effect before the incident. Now, they have on record 40 days before the shooting, somebody had called in and said, or had turned in some information that he had certain weapons, named this AR-15 that he had, and that he was threatening to kill the students, or talking about killing the students at the school. Oh, thank you, Wanda. That is so sweet. Oh, this makes my day. Thank you. I love to be called beautiful. I think we all do. And another security thing at the school, and I had pulled it up, and I may play it. There is a video in 2016 of Cruz in a fight at the school, and he was expelled from the school. He had a lot of problems. His records at the school are pretty extensive. He had just finally been expelled from fights, threatening to kill students. This was not a spur of the moment thing for him. This was ongoing. It wasn't like when you look at Columbine, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, they wrote about it in their journals. They didn't talk publicly. This dude said things publicly about what he was going to do. And 40 days before this, it was turned in for a threat and nobody did anything. That's a problem. I would rather be overcautious and every complaint that is called into a school be looked into and be serious or taken serious rather than just, it's whatever. It's just kids being kids. I mean, our schools here, we've had in the past few months, I think there's been 3 lockdowns. Of course, this is an area there's 20 schools. It's a small area, but it's a bunch of cities all together. From like emails or finding a note or social media where a child is talked about hurting the kids at the school, bringing a gun or whatever, they've locked everything down and sent emails out. And I think that needs to be what they do. Take things more serious and look into these kids, because if we don't get ahead of this, then this is going to continue and baby keep it. More lives are going to be lost senselessly. So he was searched. This was what caught my attention. He was searched by the school guards daily for weapons, and was voted by the security guards most likely to shoot up the school. So if he had a school record already for fighting and trouble and was just an ass, and the school guards are already searching him daily because they're worried about him bringing weapons, and in their little school guard system vote him most likely to shoot up the school, why was this not paid more attention to? When it makes no sense. They failed. They failed these teachers. They failed these students. And I have some of the videos pulled up, but I don't think I'm going to play them. I may drop links to them. I cried, y'all. That's what I was running late getting this started, because it took me a little bit to get myself together. Those videos where the kids were filming inside the classrooms of what's going on, is very, very emotional. It is, and I don't know if victims are watching. They could see this in their feed and want to see what's said about their school and them, and I don't want to re-victimize. So I'm not going to play them. I may drop the links. I haven't decided on that yet. It's a touchy because I don't want to re-victimize. And they're very gory. They're gory, and you can hear kids screaming for help, crying out for help, moaning. I mean, it is, it's emotional. It's emotional. I'm really kind of surprised it's on the internet, but the kids had it on their phones and have put it on like Reddit and things like that. So this shooting lasted for 5 minutes and 32 seconds. We don't think that's a lot of time. And it really is. It doesn't take but a split second for a bullet to shoot through material in a human body. He was dropped off by an Uber driver at 2:19. She noticed the large bag, just didn't think anything about it. Said it was for a music class. And it was right at the end of the school day. 2:19, they probably got out at 3 o'clock, 2:45. He walked in dressed in a school shirt with a backpack. Andrew Medina, a security guard, who was also the school's baseball coach, spotted Cruz and remembered him being the crazy boy. Oh, so sorry, Wanda. It was in Florida. And one of the parents actually sued that security guard because he's seen him and didn't do anything about it. He walks into the hallway, and he's in a stairwell, and the door's open, and I think the bathrooms are right there. And a freshman walks around the corner, and this is footage that they have. And he tells him as he's taking out the rifle and loading it, "You better get out of here. It's fixing to go down." And the kid runs out and goes and alerts some coaches they get him out towards the baseball field. Cruz sets off the fire alarm, which brings people out of classes, which is how he opened fire. And several of the teachers were heroes that day. They died. They gave their life saving these children, trying to block doorways and things like that. Let's see. And that Chris Hickson, he was 49. He was a school athletic director, a Navy veteran as well. Tried to engage him, but was hit with a round, immediately taking him. He fired a couple shots after that. He was buried with full military honors, and that to me is very touching. Aaron Feist, an offensive line coach, first victim identified. He was a school football team. He shielded the students from the shooter. Let's see. I just want to make sure I get all of these little details on here. Where is my timeline? Well, we're going to go through the timeline because that is show you how quick this happened. Trying to make sure I watch the feed too so I don't miss nobody. If you're just joining us, welcome and thank you for joining. We are talking about the Parkland shooting. The shooter, Nikolas Cruz, pleaded guilty today to 17 counts of murder, 17 counts of attempted murder. It now goes into the penalty phase. So the timeline, 2:19, the suspects exit the Uber car, arriving at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School around dismissal time. Uber has confirmed the time and that Cruz did use the service and that they are working with the authorities. This was a timeline done in the very beginning. The shooter allegedly enters the school and takes an AR-15 out of the case. He begins shooting into 3 classrooms, returning to 2 of them. He shot into another classroom and then shot into 2 more classrooms before dropping his rifle. At 2:28, he is believed to have run outside, and they have video of him walking down the sidewalk like no big deal, another day, blending right in, which there was nobody around him. He was all by himself, but he goes over to McDonald's, which is where they apprehend him. Well, actually, he went to a Walmart first, bought a drink, over to the Subway before leaving on foot, and then walked into McDonald's and sat down at 3:01. Sat down. And then left on foot again at 3:41. He was taken into custody. So it started at 2:19. By 3:41, he was in custody. In the video of him in custody, he's talking about hearing voices, demons and voices. So kid's troubled. I know 8, 9 months. Let's see. Where was that at? That's not it. That's not it. Okay. I thought I saved it. 8 or 9 months after the shooting, he is in, I should have that up here. He is in the prison and he attacks a guard. And in the attack, here it is. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Let me have the right thing. Somebody just shared the video. Hold on. Let's see. Is this it? Yep, this is it. Okay. The criminal is been scary. In Canada, it takes a lot to gain gun access, but it's terrifying. Right now, because issues are just ignored. It's just getting serious everywhere. I don't even know what to think of it anymore. Okay, so is this, I don't know if this is the one. What does it say? I want to make sure I'm showing the where y'all can see it. Hold on. Make sure I'm showing the word. Yeah, looks like you can see it. Okay. So let me unmute.
This video of Nikolas Cruz fighting BSO Deputy Sergeant Raymond Beltran is crucial evidence in his battery against a law enforcement officer case from November 2018. Defense attorneys argue today that BSO didn't save video in the hours before the alleged attack that would tell the entire story.
We no longer have the benefit, and a jury will not have the benefit of viewing the video and the incidents or whatever occurred prior to the preservation of what we have. The jury will not get the benefit of looking at that video.
The video includes 5 minutes before the attack, where Cruz is seen pacing in circles around the room while Sergeant Beltran sat nearby. Then the entire attack and encounter, which lasts about a minute, and then when Cruz backs off and complied. Prosecutors say the video is more than enough to keep as evidence.
The defense has made no showing that there is anything material
So
in the portions of video that they see.
I mean, they're trying to say that the correctional officer antagonized him. The dude is sitting there. The dude is in prison. For one, they're going to talk shit to you, I'm sure. I know they do. But he's pacing, and he's pacing and pacing. So he looks to be very agitated. Could that be because he was off his medications? Because he was on medications. Now, there's claims that he was probably off of them already or had come off of them at one point. But if there's some kind of psychosis issue going on and he's not on his medications and he's pacing, I do think it is highly possible this could have been a case for a medical issue, but he knew what he was doing. He knew. He planned it. So I don't know. Those area, there's a lot of gray area in that. But he definitely attacked that officer. And so he did plead to that already. I don't know what they gave him. I don't think it matters because he's going away. He's pled guilty. So now it's just a matter of whether or not they put him to death there or elsewhere, or he dies naturally. Let me see. There was something else I was going to show. Oh, this one. Let's see.
I applied Louis yesterday to the.
Hold on. Don't do that. Let's do this one. This is the fight that happened with him in school 2 years before the incident. This was when he was expelled from the school.
Phone video obtained by Local 10 News, which appears to show accused shooter Nikolas Cruz in a fight. A student tells us Cruz, wearing a white t-shirt, was fighting with several others in the courtyard at Stoneman Douglas High School on September 20th, 2016. The same date school records we cross-checked show Cruz was suspended for fighting.
Every day we're learning something more and more about the killer.
We've learned the Broward Sheriff's Office got over 20 calls about 19-year-old Nikolas Cruz over the last few years. So many former neighbors remember the trouble.
The police were in the driveway a lot.
Now the Department of Children and Families petitioning to release reports they have on Cruz. The public defender confirming Cruz was taking medication, but at some point stopped, which should have been a flag. Then this bombshell. Someone called the FBI tip line to warn them about Cruz back on January 5th. Giving details about Cruz's guns, his desire to kill people, erratic behavior, and disturbing social media posts. That tip, though, never made it to Miami's FBI field office.
The potential of the FBI to miss something is always there. We do our best. We have sort of protocols to prevent these things. We will be looking into where and how, if something, the protocol broke down.
Just 40 days later, cops say Cruz carried out those threats, killing 17 people. He then reportedly blended in with fleeing students. Surveillance video shows him after the attack walking toward a nearby McDonald's alone. For Broward's superintendent of schools, learning so many people failed to connect the dots on Cruz is devastating.
That's a hard pill to swallow. It really is, considering what the ramifications of that one mistake is.
What's going on today, bro?
The demons, man.
Demons?
So, oh, it's still playing.
Voices.
There it goes. So, that comment of we do our best, we're doing our best. That best ain't good enough. Oh, did my StreamYard freeze up? Looks like it did. This officer, it's a very unrespected field because they deal with inmates and chronic mental health issues. You can see us leading up on this ceiling red. Thanks for joining, Wanda. Have a good day. I'm struggling with we are doing our best. Their best cost 17 people their lives and 17 others injured. The families of the ones who lost, the families of the ones who were injured, the families of the students who lived through that day have to live with this for the rest of their lives. The damage, their best wasn't good enough. Their best wasn't good enough. The grizzly bear husband needs food. My StreamYard comments have frozen and will not. So let's see if... Yeah, no, it's not moving. I can't see any of the comments. I don't... Let's see. Let me... If I do this... Yeah, no, it's not moving. StreamYard is being stupid. So stupid. Thanks, StreamYard. Anyways, too many people failed. Too many people failed here. So let me see. There's something on the one student officer there. So this one, go figure, the name. A former deputy, Scott Peterson. So I don't know why this is not working. Hold on. I'm going to try it because I can't see comments and that is driving me crazy. Maybe now it's working. Okay. I had to mess with it. How many Scott Petersons do we have to deal with in true crime? So his name is Scott Peterson. Basically, if your last name is Peterson, never ever name your child Scott. Just saying. Was on duty at the school at the time of the shooting. He was seen in the surveillance video rushing with 2 staff members towards the building where the shooting happened. When they arrived, he pulled his weapon and then retreated and took up a position outside where he stood with his gun drawn. I get it's a scary situation. I get that you're having to go into a situation you do not know what is behind those doors. But your job as an adult protecting that school is to put your life ahead of those students. And you, Mr. Peterson, should have gone through those doors and done your job. Not run and retreat behind other things. You could have saved at least one life that day. At least one life that day. There's no excuse. No excuse. He was arrested in 2019 on 11 criminal charges related to his alleged inaction during the massacre. He was charged with child neglect, culpable negligence, and perjury. Allegations that carry a maximum prison sentence of nearly 100 years. Hopefully he serves them. Hopefully he serves them. I'm going to do another deep dive into this and really put a whole timeline together and a deep discussion. I felt today was important to come and talk about Cruz's guilty plea and where it goes from here. So now they'll pull jury and the jury is going to decide. Hopefully some justice is done. Hopefully some justice is done. So I am going to pull. I'm going to see if it'll play it. I was trying to upload the video. Yeah, his past behavior leading up to this to me is very telling. And it's concerning. I mean, schools can only do so much. And they deal all the time with troubled kids that are getting in fights, that are ditching class, that are flunking out, doing drugs, whatever. And they have a protocol, and I think the school followed that. Why were the gates unlocked? How did he get access when he wasn't supposed to be there? Those are things with their security system. This was labeled one of the safest schools in America, and it failed. And I think the families were rewarded like $25 million or something to that effect. It was a huge amount, and a lawsuit that they filed against the school. When Columbine happened, and you look at, and that's something I've been digging into because it's another one I want to talk about. when you look at Eric Harris's psychological profile and what doctors were looking at with him, we have had some serious fighting problems here in the schools, and we have never had these problems. Mental health is playing a big part. It really is. We've had a few school shootings here. There was one where my niece goes to school her senior year. I immediately got on the phone and called my nephew and said, please tell me Destiny is not at school. And she was not there that day. Thank God. But it hit close to home. And you always think, and here in Texas, we kind of were cocky about that because we are huge with our guns, and we always think that it can never happen, and it happened. And then 2 years ago in Odessa, we had a mass shooter that was driving. He shot 2 cops when they tried to stop him, and then he drove through the city of Odessa, and he just was shooting, and he threw cars, and I don't even remember the numbers, but we were getting ready to go to the carnival that day, and I had a headache and laid down, and I was like, give me 30 minutes. Let me just lay down. Well, they come in there, woke me up, and we're like, Mom, there's a shooting. We can't go. And got up and got on the news, and sure enough, there was a shooting, and I mean, he fought, and the cops ended it. Several rounds took him out. It was brutal, but he wasn't going quietly, and there was really not a lot of sign. I mean, he was strange, and the house he lived in had no power. He had quit his job or gotten fired. He had shown up and kind of raised hell at the job and whatever else, and then just boom, went on a killing spree. It is almost like we don't hear as much about serial killers anymore. They go on mass shootings. Thank you, Carrie, for joining us. Have a good day at work. Be safe. And mass shootings are becoming, I mean, you almost can't go anywhere. There was one in El Paso at a Walmart. I think there was one just recently at another Walmart. Southern state, but I don't remember where. There's been shootings at malls, grocery stores. I think there was one in Tennessee at a Kroger or something like that. It is so common practice now that you almost, I know I don't feel safe going without a weapon. And to protect myself and people around me. And yes, I know how to shoot, know how to load, know how to carry. I mean, I grew up with guns, and my husband is ex-military. It is something we have taught our family because we're in a day and age where you almost can't go unprotected. But then you have people like Nikolas Cruz getting hold of weapons who clearly do not need them. There is a mental health issue there that he should have never had access to a weapon, ever. And I struggle on the whole, because people talk about if you're on any kind of mental health medication, then it should be in a database where you can't own a weapon. Well, just because somebody has a mental health issue does not mean they're not suitable to own a weapon. Because not everybody who struggles with mental health is going to go out and kill everybody. But going back to Eric Harris, got a sidetrack, so sorry, I do that every so often. He, because of his age, and some reading I was doing here a couple of weeks ago, as a sociopath, there are certain mental health things that once you're labeled, there's no cure. There's no medication that help those issues. Most of them learn to function normal, and especially when they go through therapy and they start learning, I'm being a sociopath at the moment, I need to stop. They learn how to not behave inappropriately. But they also learn how to work the system. They know how to talk to their doctors. They know how to talk to officers. They know how to make people believe that they are okay, and they're not. And that is what Eric Harris did. Eric Harris played the system. He knew how to make everybody around him think, he's fine. I'm good. I'm just going about a normal day, be a normal teenager. And the whole time, he's having these huge ideations of killing people and making a statement and being known and being big name for killing people. And Thank God the things that they had set up didn't go off, because they had bombs everywhere. Thank God they failed. Otherwise, that would have been a very horrific day. But they don't like to label kids with these titles, because you can't remove those titles once they're there. And so they're very cautious about doing that, because is it a teenager who is just struggling, their hormones and all that cause them to be irrational and not make good decisions, not have problem solving, critical thinking, those kind of things? Or is it truly an illness? And so they don't like to label them falsely. But they need to work on that criteria, I think, because had they done that, then there would have been more looking into with Eric, and maybe Columbine would have never happened. Maybe people like Nikolas Cruz would have never had access to a weapon that did this kind of damage. A 19-year-old kid did not need an AR-15. None. No need for it. Some adults don't need them. Hell. But I mean, as a military wife, I mean, I get it. My husband likes them. They like them. You're big gun enthusiasts. Do you want them? Some of them are collector's items. But a 19-year-old kid has no business owning that kind of weapon. That kind of weapon needs to be labeled into something else that puts them in the higher age bracket to have them. Is that foolproof? No. But it's a step in the right direction. Not all schools can afford to have these kind of officers on duty. Your smaller schools can't. So having officers at those is not feasible. Having teachers licensed, if a teacher is comfortable carrying a weapon and feeling like they can handle a situation and a stressful situation and take care of things and do what has to be done, because saying you're going to carry a weapon and protect is different than actually having to pull that weapon and pull the trigger to a human being. Not everybody, you might think you can, but can you? When it comes down to it, that's two totally different things. Thinking I can absolutely pull the trigger when somebody comes through that door, it's a whole lot different of looking somebody in the eye and pulling the trigger. So there's a lot of classes that would need to happen. Thank God I don't have children in school anymore, but I have a grandson in school that I have to worry about. Would I be comfortable with a teacher carrying a weapon to protect him? If there were classes that they took to prepare themselves, yes, I would. Yes, I would. I think an aptitude test would be helpful to see if the people are mentally stable, but then if the person snaps, it's useless. Well, and if they're a sociopath, they can pass those tests. They have learned behavior. They learn how to answer things and behave. They're highly intelligent. So they learn how to do those things to pass and fool people. So it's a double-edged sword. I mean, what do? I don't know what the answer is to that. No clue what the answer is to that. And it's a scary, scary situation, because we have to do something. We're losing children. We're losing innocent lives. The victims of this, I'm going to name them. I have a video with them, and I'm going to play that in a minute. I made a tribute video. Y'all know me. I like my tribute videos. Alyssa Aldhaff was 14. I'm probably saying these names wrong. Scott Beagle was 35. He was a teacher. Let's see, Alyssa. She wanted to be a lawyer. She wanted to be a lawyer and a professional soccer player. Scott Beagle was 35. He was a geography teacher and cross-country coach. Martin Duque Aniguiano. I am not going to say that name right. I am so sorry for butchering on. 14. He was described as a very funny kid, outgoing, and sometimes really quiet. Oh, I can't read that. I'll cry for sure. Ooh, I didn't read these beforehand. Some of these have tributes from family members. Who? Nicholas Dworet was 17. He was a swimmer at the school. He committed to competing at college level, so he'd already signed with College of Indianapolis. He was named the Sun Centennial second team all-country swimmer in the Broward County in the 100-yard freestyle. His brother Alexander was grazed by a bullet in the back of the head. So his brother was one of the injured. Can you imagine being a parent and both of your children are involved in this? One dead, one is injured. Oh, wow. Nicholas had dreamed of being an Olympic swim team member. That's something. Aaron Feist, 37. He was assistant football coach and Serenity Guard. He died while using his body to shield the other students from bullets when the gunman opened fire. Jamie Guttenberg, 14. She was a dancer, described as life of the party. Christopher Hickson, 49, was athletic director, wrestling coach, and security specialist. He came from a family extensive background in military and served as a U.S. Navy. He was the one that died with had Navy honors. Luke Hoyer, 15. He was just a good kid, never got in trouble. Carol Loughran, 14. All these 14, 15-year-old babies just can't. Let's see. What do they say about Kara? She was a beach lover and a dancer. Gina Montalto was 14. She was a hardworking student, keen sense of humor. It melted your heart with an infectious smile and light up the room. Had a kind spirit and eager to lend a hand. She winter guard on the school's state champion marching band. Joaquin Oliver was 17. He was a hip hop and sports lover. He became a naturalized American citizen in January of 2017. So 13 months later, he is murdered in a school shooting after becoming a citizen. Oh, his nickname was Walk, like guacamole. That's cute. Elena Petty was 14. She did a lot of help in the local community. She did a lot of community service. Meadow Pollock was 18. She was the youngest in the family. She had planned to attend the Lynn University at Boca Raton after she graduated. Helena Ramsey was 17. Smart and kind-hearted, loved and loved and loved. Alexander Shader, 14. He played the trombone and the baritone in the marching band. Carmen Shintrup. These names. 16. Carmen was named one of 53 National Merit Scholarship Program semifinalists in the county. And she was a piano student. Peter Wang, 15. He was a member of the JROTC program. But those are the victims. So I'm going to do some more coverage on this. I'm going to dig and kind of write this up a little bit and do this where we can have some more people come in here and let's talk about school shootings and what is going on in our country. But before I take off, I want to share this video, and I'm going to upload this video as well. On the channel so that So I am going to upload this on the channel so that it is by itself out of the video. But I want to share this, and when this is over, I will sign off. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a great rest of your week. Happy hump day, and stay safe.